This video will cover all the configuration steps needed to get each of your Connect.io modules online and added to your SAVI project. Before making any configurations in software, ensure the Connect.io is powered on with the included 12-volt DC adapter and is connected to the network via the Ethernet port. The next step is to set a static IP for any of the modules you intend to use. SAVI offers a discovery tool that can make this process much simpler. You can download the SAVI Discover tool, as well as several other useful tools that will come in handy later by visiting the dealer portal. Once logged in, navigate to the Firmware/Software tab and scroll to the bottom to find the SAVI Connect.io section. Just hit download and a zip file will be saved wherever your browser stores downloads. After extracting, you can open the SAVI Discover tool. We'll use this to discover any Connect.io modules on the network. Before starting, you'll want to make sure that the device running Discover has access to the subnet where the Connect.io is. It's also worth noting that when the Connect.io is powered on, it will request a DHCP address for each module. If after 2 minutes no DHCP address has been assigned, a default static IP will be set for each of the modules, which will typically start at 192.168.1.70. I'll go ahead and open the Discover tool now to get started. Depending on your security settings, if it's your first time opening the tool, you may need to explicitly allow the program to run, as well as clicking Allow when prompted by the operating system. Once the tool is running, it'll immediately begin discovering any Connect.io modules that it can see on the network. Under the Model column, you can see we have multiple modules showing up. GC232 is obviously RS232, IR3 are the IR modules, and RL3A is for the single relay module. Next, you can see the current IP address. If these are the DHCP addresses, you can go ahead and navigate to each in a new tab and set a new static IP for each of these. You can also right-click a module and use the Configure button to open the UI page in a new tab. Once the UI loads, click Network Settings and then set the static IP and apply changes. In the title, you can see GC232, but there's another number here. The 2 means that this is the second module from the left, looking at the back of the Connect.io. So a 1 would be here on the left, while these would be 3 and 4. This numbering method also applies to the IR modules as well as the individual ports on each IR module. Since this is an RS232 module, the serial settings are available here to change. I can leave these alone for now as I'm able to set all of these parameters directly in Creator while I'm adding the custom driver to my project. Though once I finish that step, I could return here later on to verify that these settings were applied correctly. If you're troubleshooting the device remotely, you can always come to the advanced settings for reboot and factory reset options. With this module finished, I can proceed with the rest in the same way. For the IR modules, the network settings are the same, but now I have the IR settings available. Remember that each of the 3 IR modules has 3 ports within it, for a total of 9 on each Connect.io. You can select the function of each port within this module by clicking it and hitting Apply, though this could also be done while adding the module to your project in Creator. Also keep in mind that while all ports can function as either an emitter or a sensor, only the 3rd port on each module is capable of working with an attached IR blaster. Lastly, we have the Relay module page. Under Relay settings, we can see the current status of each individual relay. While it's possible to toggle these directly from here, this is mainly intended for testing. Triggering on or off for the various connected devices will typically be controlled through SAVI. Jumping back to the Discover tool, there's a few more helpful features to look at. If I right-click a module, you can see we have a few options. The 2 most helpful are Configure and Blink LED. Like we did earlier, Configure will open the module's UI page in a new tab, while Blink LED will cause the adjacent LED on the back of the device to flash, indicating which module you've selected. Once all your required modules are set to a static IP, you're ready to start configuring in Creator. In the Equipment tab, if I start typing Connect, you can see all 3 module types will show up in the filtered list of drivers. I'm going to start adding these to the project in IP order, so I'll click the RS232 driver first. For this driver, I'm simply entering the IP address, so if you set your IPs statically in ascending order, you can use the Add Multiple feature, and be sure to click the Increment IP Address option. I'll add 4 total and click OK. Next, I'll add my IR modules. In addition to the IP address, I need to select the intended functionality for each of my ports on this module, whether it's emitter or sensor. I can also add delays in between commands if needed, but we recommend leaving this to the default value of 0 unless a specific need to increase this is identified. If the setup for each of your IR modules is identical, you could use the Add Multiple feature like normal and add as many as you need. However, if any of the modules have a different setup, you could either add each individually or still use the Add Multiple feature here, ensuring that you go into your equipment section later and make whatever changes are needed for each module. If you do create and add each individually, you'll want to manually change the names each time as well, so you can differentiate between them when you're connecting them to devices later on. Lastly, adding the relay module only requires the IP address. With the modules added to our project, we can now make the appropriate connections in the Connections tab. From here, you can choose a module and search for the device you're needing to control in the Output tab, or locate the device itself in this list, and then choose the appropriate Connect I/O module as the input. Either way, remember that using the search here is the fastest and most efficient way to find the exact driver needing to be connected. Regarding the process of adding and configuring these various devices to your project, see our video on building custom drivers, which is linked in the description below. It's also worth noting that SAVI has several drivers already included that use either IR or serial control. For instance, with this Apple TV IR driver, you can simply add it to the project like you would any source, and for the IR control, make the connection with the respective IR module in the Connections tab. Now in Facility View, if I select the remote icon for the Apple TV, I can control the device from SAVI the same way I would with the actual remote. In a similar way, this Zone Pro audio matrix receives serial commands, so after adding an RS-232 module to the project, I'd scroll down here in the Connections tab with the matrix selected and choose the corresponding RS-232 module. The last example we'll look at is the relay module. In this project, I have several motorized shades that I want to control. Since they only need a simple on or off command in order to open or close, I've wired them into the relay module for easy control. Using this macro, I can actually send an on command to multiple relays within the module simultaneously. For each on command, I simply click and select a relay as an argument. As a final note, remember to test all your connections by sending a variety of commands to all devices you're needing to control before relying on them in a live venue. This concludes our Connect I/O configuration video. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe for more SAVI training videos.